this number right now.
Jackie Austin back hosting this week, Thinking Real Estate.
Hi.
Long lost visitor this week.
I know, a blast
He's
from the
back.
past. Brought with me Mark Meyer from Thinking Real Estate.
Good morning.
So, used to co-host this show with
Yeah.
Laura. And
Then she
Good
kicked
to
me
see
to
you, Mark.
curb. Good to see you.
How's business?
Best January I've ever had.
Really?
Seriously.
he's been kicking butt.
I have.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's been awesome.
Mhm.
I had a house listed for 400 and some days that I closed on
Ooh.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Mercury's retrograde things are getting finished. That one took a few retrogrades to
When's
get
it going
finished.
direct?
Well, it just started like last week, so. So we got a couple more weeks on that one.
Yeah.
So
And Laura's coming back tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah.
So she'll be here next Monday.
Yes, thank God.
That's not how I feel.
I know.
Whatever.
How long have you been in the business?
22 years.
Oh, wow.
Since I was a wee boy.
So you've seen it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was around when it
Just
was
checking.
hard not to sell real estate. And I was around when it was hard to sell real estate.
Right. Yeah.
And I am glad I stuck around. This is a great job. Best job in the world. Besides yours. But I don't have to get up at 3 a.m.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's lots of advantages to it.
Crack a noon for me.
So I thought today we'd just kind of chat about what the buying and selling process is, since we both know what that is. And I've had a lot of first-time home buyers lately, and they just need to know what the process
And
is.
since we've been in the business for so long, I forget that people don't know what the process is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm always surprised when
I think people that have even gone through it don't
Yeah,
know what it
Well,
is.
Yeah, there's that too.
yeah.
And it does change periodically, doesn't it?
Well, the basic process is the same. There's little things that are going to be,
Mhm.
the financing process might change a little bit because underwriting is more strict or a little looser.
I think that's the process doesn't change. The paperwork changes sometimes and the banks change. And
Yeah.
the rest of it is
Well, there's been big changes there, right?
Yeah, and the banking, I still am surprised by what underwriters for the banks ask us for.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Sometimes it's crazy. I know I've seen where they've kicked back a purchase agreement because it didn't have the word street or road or whatever after the name of the road.
Totally.
And you have to go and change it on every single page. Of
Or
the
somebody
document.
didn't initial one page.
Yeah, or something like that. Which, I can understand, but to kick the whole file back for something like that is sometimes ridiculous. But, whatever. It happens. You gotta deal with it.
So what is the process?
Well,
Let's turn this around.
Right. I always tell my buyers the first thing that they need to do is talk to a lender. Because they need to find out how much they can afford and know what their monthly...
Is that the
Got really
president?
loud here. Know what their monthly payment is going to be, because if
Yeah.
they, let's say I've got one buyer that they were approved, or could have been approved for quite a bit, 150, but they wanted to stay down near 100 because the payment was where they felt comfortable. So they need to have those conversations with their lender and find out. You got to think about. What are your property taxes going to add to your payment? What's your insurance going to
Okay,
do? Electric, gas, all of that stuff that
And
you may not think
PMI,
about.
private mortgage insurance.
Oh yeah, PMI. Yep. I'm dealing with that on one right now. She got the breakdown of what her payment was, and like $80 of it is PMI.
Well, but
So,
isn't there a change now that they're gonna cap that?
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, there might be. I know there are some programs out there that don't have PMI, so if you can get into one of those, that's a good question to ask is, do I need to pay this mortgage insurance?
Because that doesn't benefit anybody but the bank.
Right. And I always tell my clients, make sure there's a certain level, like, is it 20% where it just automatically
Yes.
where it goes away, but a lot
But
of the times
FHA
the
doesn't
banks,
drop off anymore.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the banks don't just automatically take it off. You have to tell them, all right, I've got my 20% equity, let's get rid of that.
I had a closing last week that the title company actually explained to the buyer that after so many years, I think it was 12 years, it drops off automatically.
Okay. So that's, little things like that people don't realize.
I can't remember who the bank was now. Oh, it was Flagstar.
Okay. I haven't done waiting with Flagstar Bank in a long time.
I'm thinking a big issue is down payment.
Down payment is a big one, and right now I'm seeing, actually, first-time home buyers, one of the good things they can pull from their IRA without penalties for down payment, so I've seen that a couple of times recently. One of the clients I'm working with right now, she had an IRA from an old job. She was planning on transferring it to her current one anyway, and instead she cashed it out and used it for her down payment.
Now, I'm
So-
thinking first-time buyers, probably, many don't have an IRA.
Well, that's, some do, some don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the job you've got.
But they can get in for 3.5%. So a $100,000 buyer can get in for basically $3,500.
Okay.
And their rent is going to be more than their house payment.
Yes.
On a $100,000 house, I mean, they're talking about with taxes and insurance, probably $700 a
Yeah, I was
month.
say 650, 700. So, yeah, and a lot of time the rent is higher than that. So, and you're getting equity in a house, so you can turn around and sell it, hopefully in a few years, and get that money back. As long as the market stays the way it's going with all the upticks. So, so after they get their financing, then they can start looking at houses. Do you have anything that you do with your buyers when you're looking at houses? Tips you tell them or anything like that?
Not, I don't, not really. I mean, seriously, I mean,
That took a long time for that, really.
I'm trying to think
Mark.
of what I do for buyers that, the buyers that I work with typically know what they're looking for. And, when somebody's wanting a house, they already are online looking. I mean,
Yeah,
they almost
see-
always are prepared when they come to
You don't
us.
pressure
And I
them.
think I'm kind of
No.
different.
No.
No. I think my clients are a little different. A lot of the ones that I work with don't really know what they want. They may have not been in a lot of houses or things like that. They may have some ideas of what they think they really, really like. So I always tell my buyers to pick a couple of different styles for their first outing and see, what kinds of things you like. So I just went with a few weeks ago with a girl that we looked at a ranch, we looked at a 2-story, and we looked at a 1.5-story, and she decided she did not like ranches, and I thought that was great because I could then eliminate any ranch.
She's going to buy a ranch, right?
No, she did end up with a 2-story house. She wrote an offer within a week, so I like that buyer.
Here's how low pressure I am.
I look at the consumer's bill.
Yeah, a
A lot of people will ask,
Yeah.
about that stuff, and we don't know. I mean, sometimes the listing agent will put that stuff on the MLS, the multiple listing service, but we don't know what that is. Yeah. Here's how low pressure.
Should the buyer know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're definitely
Totally.
going to budget that in
Yeah.
and know what those are going to be.
I wrote a letter to somebody in 2002 asking about a piece of property, and they called me last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
I almost had hair when they called you.
2002.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It is crazy.
So, well, it took them 13 years to make their decision, but we've had lots of clients like that where they signed up for our website 10, 15 years ago, and now they're to the point where they're like, okay, well, let's start looking, and that's just
It
it's
always
insane.
comes around.
Yeah, and we had one that we sold last year, I think. The file had been in Laura's desk for probably 10 years, and she had, every 6 months, maybe a year, he'd look at a house or two, and then he finally bought something.
Don't rush into it.
Yeah. Don't hurry.
Yep, so yeah, that was one I actually cleaned out Laura's cabinet, and she's like, the file's gone and now I need it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
And I don't
funny.
throw anything away, so I
I know
always
you
I have files from 22 years ago.
A little hoarding.
Well, maybe a little.
You never know when it's gonna
Yeah,
come back.
I might need it.
So
Yeah, there's information in there.
yeah. So once somebody finds a house, what's the next step they should take?
They should have an inspection for sure.
Okay, so they've written an offer. They have an
Mhm.
inspection done.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of questions. Should we do an inspection before an offer?
No,
No, never.
it's a waste of money.
Yep, it is. I agree. So, when you write an offer,
So
it's just kind of
you make sure you're interested in
Well, you should make sure that you've negotiated the deal.
yeah. You don't want to
before
go,
you.
Yep.
Do the inspection.
Mhm.
And the inspection is not designed to make a list of things for the seller to fix. It's designed so that the buyer knows as much about the house that they can.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a deal right now where the house is 80 years old and it's my buyer, and they want to have the seller fix all these little things, and the seller's like, no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I had one.
And they've been living there the way it is, and it's fine for them. And that's what I always say to the buyers: you have to remember that the buyer or that the seller is fine with it.
I had one that the inspector, was like, "This is such a great house. You really need to buy this house. I don't care what's wrong with it." Because there were just little things, like I think a gutter was missing on the front of the house, and he's like, "That is nothing. This is the house you should be buying."
Did they buy it?
They did, yes. So the little things, and the buyer knew. He's like, "Well, that's gonna cost maybe a couple $100 if I hire somebody to do it." So
Do you still
it's
go
not
to?
that big.
Do you go to the inspections?
I do not go to the inspections.
I try it. I like to go
Yeah.
because if it's going to fall apart, that's where it's going to fall apart.
Yeah, we trust our the home inspector we recommend. He does a really good job, and I personally don't really need to know everything that's wrong with
Yeah,
the
I don't
house. So what I do is afterwards I
Should
talk
you
to-
know though, or no?
No, we're facilitators. It's between the buyer and the seller. Whatever they want to do is fine with us, and we
There's always going to be probably something. Right?
well, home ownership is not.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Right.
I mean, the house is going to need things, whether it's new or not new. Yeah. Pre-owned.
Pre-owned. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always have a conversation with my buyers prior to the home inspection and let them know this is their way to find out everything possible about the house. They should be asking questions.
In
as they
fact, our
walk
purchase
through.
agreement says that the inspection is not designed to make a punch list for the seller. It's designed to inform.
Yeah. So, I always encourage them to ask questions. If they find a little switch that they're like, what does this control? Figure it out. That's the time to do it because you've got a contractor there that can help you do that. The house I was just telling you about where he said to buy this house, there were these little plates at the bottom, like at the baseboard, and I didn't notice them when we walked through the house the 3 or 4 times we went through, but they noticed them when they went through it, and they found out that you open them up and you sweep stuff into them, and then they drop to the basement, and there's a little container to catch the stuff you sweep up. So I'm like, I've never seen such a thing.
That sounds like an oldie but goodie there.
I know. I like that. It was just very cool.
Holy
So
small.
they found out a lot of really fun stuff about the house because they asked questions, and I thought that was very, very cool. So
How much? And that's inspections are like maybe $300
Yeah.
or so, and that's the best money they can spend. A buyer can spend, I think.
Yep, I agree. So home inspection goes well. What's the next thing? Appraisal?
Appraisal, and that we don't have control over
Nope.
at all. We never, unless it's my listing, I never even know when it's going to be done.
Right. Yeah.
Does the buyer do that?
The buyer's bank does
Yeah.
that.
The bank
They-
will order it.
Yeah, they
That's part of the final deal.
Yes.
and the bank actually orders it through a third party because they can't have any contact with the appraiser, and we're not supposed to have contact with the appraiser either. So
Yeah, well, I mean, we did have a problem for a long time of out-of-town appraisers coming in and doing appraisals. I'm not seeing that as much. I don't know. We added a actually clause to our appraisal contingency that it has to be a Jackson County appraiser.
Well, wasn't it?
So-
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. About 10 years ago, just a free for all.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why there's a third party now.
Yeah.
And we put in our purchase agreement a clause that says that a Jackson County appraiser is going to do the appraisal.
Yep. So, and that's about as much control as we can have over who does the appraisal, because they can request that. So,
But the local banks use local appraisers, which is great.
yep. We like that. So, appraisal comes back good. Price is good. No major things. Sometimes
I haven't
on
had a
an
bad
FHA
appraisal in a year.
Yeah, I haven't had one either.
Earlier last year, I had a couple deals that almost fell apart because the appraisals came in low, and partially I think it was the weather. I mean, last winter was so awful that
Yeah.
nothing happened. I mean, January and February,
No deals were
Nothing.
written. I mean, April's sales were so low.
I went
because
for
those
a
were the
week,
ones
and the
that-
only other living thing I saw was my dog.
Good thing you had the dog.
Seriously, she was sick of me too.
Yeah, I think I was locked in the house for a few days too. So once the appraisal comes back good, then everything goes to what's called underwriting.
Yeah, underwriters. Yeah.
So I know that's kind of a big mystery.
Not on the
to
top of your
everybody.
Christmas card list.
I just don't get them. I don't understand how they do things. I don't understand what they're looking for. And I've been doing this a long time.
Well, every bank's different. Every loan is different.
Every
and-
underwriter's different.
Right. So, and those are the people that are looking to make sure every signature is correct, every form's filled out properly, everything that we said, yes, this is a good loan. They're saying, yeah, we agree, it's a good loan. So that's basically what underwriting is. And then once they give us the go ahead, they give us what's called the clear to close, which are like the best words ever. Because that means you can actually schedule the closing and get keys exchanged.
And people love that.
Yes.
Especially us.
Yeah, I love calling my clients and say, we got to clear to close, let's go. When do you want to do this? So.
Yeah, and then the title companies, I mean, everybody's busy. It's a really great, and getting schedules to close is sometimes tough.
Yeah, that's good.
It is good.
I'm glad things are closing. So then.
In fact, I had one that I was going to close a couple weeks ago, and the title company said that they were too busy, and I actually went down there and said, no, we're going to close this tomorrow. They did. We got it done.
Yeah, the title companies are usually really good about working with you if they can.
Uh-huh.
So.
Why is it busy for January? Normally pretty dead period. Right?
Yeah, it's honestly, I don't know. I think there was pent up demand, and I think that for me personally, it was just I decided in the fall that I was gonna kick butt this year.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and the things that are closing now would have been written in November, December.
Yeah,
So.
we're usually a couple months. I mean, what I'm doing today is gonna affect me 2 months from now, so that's just the way it is. And I don't have a ton of listings right now, but I've got really good listings. In fact, I have a brand new one I'm going to talk about.
Ooh.
Brand spanking new, not even in the MLS yet.
Ooh, I got one
Well,
going into
tell us about it.
so.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths, Western schools, ranch, great condition, on an acre, swimming pool, 2-car garage, finished basement with a B-dry system, which is a waterproofing, lifetime guarantee waterproofing system, $169,900. Really great house. Awesome.
Yeah, we've got a few in Western schools as well. I just put one on the
Not
market.
nice, not as nice as this one.
Whatever. We've got 2511 South Palmer Road, which is, that's such a cute house, and it's got such a different floor plan.
The
But
floors are awesome.
the
in that
floors
house.
are very nice in this house, and we've had a ton of activity on it, but haven't been able to get it sold. So hopefully somebody out there loves it. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, $129,900. We just put on the market 3128 Lori Drive. It's only been on the market about a week, I think. $124,900, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. That's just a basic ranch, but it's got a nice floor plan, full basement that could easily be finished off for additional space if you need it. Nice little neighborhood. I hadn't been back there in a while, and I drove around the neighborhood, and it's just so cute back there, and it's quiet, and I would live there.
Call Mark. He's kicking butt.
I
He
am.
is kicking
I'm
butt.
having fun.
But he's too busy. You gotta call me.
What's your phone number?
My number is 740-2028, and Jackie's is 780-3830. Or Laura's.
That's Laura's, but that's okay. You'll get to me.
Good job.
Do they deserve to be recognized?
Highly entertaining.